What's up, ladies and gents, Ghost here, and today I wanted to have a little chat to you guys about the community map project. So you might recall in a previous video I mentioned that there would be a third poll incoming soon that would allow us to vote on our favourite concept. And that time has now come. That poll is up. You can click the link down in the description and go and vote on that. So they say here, based on your input, we've put together 3 map concepts in which will combine the high-level framework, the setting, jungle, and several of the top voted for points of interest. We now want you to decide on which of these concepts you think we should pursue and take into production. Now bear in mind we can only pick one here, guys. Now this is the first concept. Now as you can see, we have the Chinese base to the west and the US base to the east. And I do somewhat like the layout of the maps here. You can see that the C flag is the temple ruins, which was actually my top voted for point of interest, so I'm happy that that made it in there. It does look like it's going to be a bit of a sniper's paradise. If I had to guess, C flag would be on elevated ground. So you can see we have this river, a little bit like Giants of Karelia perhaps. We have, you know, the C flag there, probably on elevated ground. I would guess it would be some sort of a partially mountainous area with the temple ruins up at the top, because, you know, most temples are built up on high ground, probably due to religious reasons. So I can definitely see some snipers getting in some good action up there. And then over to the west we have the fishing outpost and the village, which looks like it will mainly be controlled by the Chinese. And then eastways we have the jungle clearing and the waterfall, which will be controlled by the US predominantly. Now I gotta say that I did vote for the waterfall, and it looks to be in an interesting place. Actually, where they've put it, it looks like a bridge going over the river, but I suppose it's not a bridge, it's a waterfall, and I wonder if you're going to be fighting on top of the waterfall, or if it's going to be at the bottom, sort of behind the curtain on the waterfall, a little bit like Lost Islands perhaps, where they have that incut into the rocks there. Not really quite sure how that one's going to play out. So the story behind this map reads, China rallies to stop insurgents transporting weapons and supplies through the Burmese jungle river networks. US moves in to protect their interests. So this particular map will be taking place in Burma. Alright, so moving on, we now have Concept B. Now you'll notice some quite big differences in this one compared to Concept A and also to Concept C, as you'll see later on. So this time it's very similar to Rogue Transmission. We have the US base and the Chinese base, and all of the conquest flags are essentially accessible for both teams. In fact, even more so than Rogue Transmission. Rogue Transmission, you do have a flag very close to each base, each team's base respectively. Here, it seems that they're all really linear. In fact, if you kind of forget about the bases completely, the 5 flags look a bit like a game of chain link, don't they? They're quite close together. So it seems like any of the teams could vie for control over any of the flags. It's not like your team is going to be in control of the A flag, and the enemy team are going to be always in control of the E flag, like it always is in so many maps. So this time we have a little bit more of a military theme in this one. We've got the munitions dump and the POW camp there in the middle of the map. And then we have the temple annex and the temple ruins. So still going for that temple theme, as that was actually the highest voted for point of interest. And then all the way out to the edge of the map, we have the village. Now, I also like this one here. You can see there's like a river theme. So, you know, having a jungle with a river around it is obviously a recurring theme. They definitely want to go for something like that. And I like the way the roads are set out as well. Not really sure what kind of vehicles or the exact scale of the map that they're going for here. But you can see right from the get-go, you could drive off in a vehicle and both teams could essentially go all the way around to the back of the map to the A flag and be fighting over that, whilst some perhaps more infantry-focused players will be fighting around those 3 central flags, E, C, and B, in the middle of the map. Now, the backstory for this concept reads as follows. With the Chinese-American war nearly at an end, some of China's allies have remained reluctant to turn over NATO's POWs to their home countries. US are forced to react. So it doesn't really state exactly where this map will be based, only that it is in some of the countries of China's allies. So finally, we have Concept C. And as you can see, this one is, I would say, quite similar to a map like Hainan Resort. Pretty much in the layouts of the deployments here and the 5 flags around the map, I'd say it's a similar size as well. Now, I have to say, I think this may be my least favourite of the 3 concept. But, you know, of course, you guys can make up your own minds. This is just my opinion. But I'm kind of gutted that the waterfall is over at B there close to the US. You know, it does seem from the layout of the map that B and A flags are largely going to be controlled by the US, and E and D flags are mainly going to be controlled by China. And then there's going to be a hell of a lot of fighting going on in the C flag, in the ghost town over there. Now, the ghost town thing in itself does excite me slightly. I mean, I can imagine fog around, and it's supposed to be really spooky, and a lot of infantry, intense infantry firefights going down there. But the map just seems a bit Zavod-ish, a bit sort of linear, where your team is going to be in control of 2 flags for the majority of the round, and there's just going to be a hell of a lot of fighting going on over that central flag. You know, of course you can flank around the outside routes there and go over to D and E, you know, if you're playing as the US, and maybe try and backcap your enemy. But I don't know, I think the other 2 map designs, especially B concept, really excite me a lot more than this one at the moment. Also, I think that Waterfall is such a cool point of interest. It was one of my voted for points of interest, and I would have liked to see that be a central point. I can understand that an area around the waterfall maybe can't be the largest conquest flag or area to fight over, but I think it's very iconic, something pretty cool, and I would have liked to see that be something more central. So I'd say that's why I like the B concept more, because all of these points of interest can actually be fought over by both teams equally. Now, the backstory for this one reads as follows. Indonesian radicals have developed a new strain of virus for chemical warfare. A conflict flares up over access to samples and research data. So apparently this one will be based in Indonesia. So there you go, guys, a bit of info. I will of course leave the link down below so you guys can go and peruse these maps at your own leisure and vote for whichever one you like the best. Personally, it's a toss-up for me between A and B. I haven't voted yet, I'm not sure which one I'm going to vote for, but I would definitely say I'm leaning slightly towards concept B. Now, feel free to let me know down in the comments section what you guys think of these maps, whether you agree or disagree with me, and if you don't mind sharing your results, let me know which one you're going to vote for. Now, also, something else worth mentioning is it doesn't matter if you're a premium member or not. You know, as you probably know, you can go and try out the CTE if you have premium access, but for voting in this poll, this is open for every single Battlefield player, or indeed really anyone on the internet. So if you want to have a say in how this map actually pans out, I really suggest just going and taking the 5 seconds to vote on this. Alright guys, that's all from me for now. Thank you very much for watching the video. Hit a like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.